Hey everybody, this is Patriots Worldwide. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about our disappointing defeat versus the Miami Dolphins, but also our next step into the future generation and the debut and what to expect of rookie quarterback Drake Maye versus the Houston Texans. Without further ado, let's begin and jump right into it. Although this game was very frustrating, there were three big takeaways that I want to talk about, two of them being positive. And the first one is Ramondre Stevenson running for a 73-yard touchdown to give the Patriots an early lead in the first quarter. After being benched for having 4 fumbles in each of our last 4 games, one per game, Ramondre scored that touchdown and his morale went up immediately. As a fan, you want to see players who have been benched for their actions make up for it and earn their spot back. Second was Christian Gonzalez's first interception on the season. After 4 games by not recording an interception, Gonzalez finally got one by jumping a out route to Odell Beckham Jr. and intercepting Tyler Huntley on a very textbook play. Gonzo, to me, is only getting started and he's only getting better. Now, the biggest thing and the most talked about moment of this game was the final minute where Jacoby Brissett found rookie Jalen Polk in the back of the end zone for what would have been the game-winning touchdown. However, on his way down, Polk's foot was out of bounds and the officials ruled the pass incomplete. Now, there's been this argument going around the league as a fan base saying that since both of his toes were in bounds, that should have counted and that should have been considered the touchdown. However, the officials agreed that it was the right call, and also Coach Drake Maye said it was the right call. So, looking at it right now, I see it as whether if it's the correct call or not, there is really nothing we could do about it. The game's over, the officials made their mark, and that's it. But when I looked at it, at first you'd think it's a touchdown, but when you really calculate it, yeah, his foot was half out of bounds, half in bounds, but his toes were in bounds, so it's really difficult to say, and there is no correct answer other than what the officials have to say, and unfortunately, whether we agree with it or not, they have the final say. Now that game is over, I want to get into the most talking point, and that is the debut of quarterback Drake Maye. On October 8th, it was breaking news that the Patriots rookie Drake Maye will finally make his NFL debut versus the Houston Texans. This came as a surprise to me personally because I had not expected Drake to start this early. My mindset was when you draft a rookie, you let him sit for as long as he can to accept the transition from college to professionals, let him sit and learn and understand that the NFL plays at a different pace and what to expect going into this franchise. Jacoby Brissett, to me, even though he underperformed for most people, and statistically, yes, he did not have a good year so far, I think he did very well as a veteran. He was taking hits that a lot of quarterbacks wouldn't get up from, he was making plays, and he was very conservative with his decision-making and play calling. While some of his plays were very questionable and frustrating at times, you can't really fault him for that, as he's been a career backup and really just isn't special. I don't know why a lot of people were thinking he was going to be the flagship caller for the next year or so, which is fine. He's a good quarterback. He's very serviceable, and I was happy we signed him because I wanted him to come back since December. I remember when we first drafted him 8 years ago, which is insane to think about, but Jacoby's going to make a fine backup, and he's a great mentor for Drake Maye. If anything, he's our next Brian Hoyer. But speaking of Drake Maye, this couldn't have come at more of a perfect time. While I am not okay with it, I am not thrilled with him starting this early, I trust the organization. I trust Drake Maye's decision to start him. Whether his hand was forced or not, he knows what he's doing. He selected Drake for a reason, and that is to be our next face of the franchise for hopefully the next decade. He is not going to be Tom Brady. He is not going to be Peyton Manning. He's just going to be Drake Maye. And when you look back at college in North Carolina, Drake was dealing with a lot of similar situations where, no disrespect, but his receivers were not of an elite talent as many players in college, like Jaden Daniels, even Mack, for example. And North Carolina did not have the best offensive line, which helped make Drake more of an improvising quarterback. And he's very mobile, too, and he can run, he could throw, and that's what you really need to succeed in the NFL. You need a quarterback who is equally as good as a rusher as he is a passer. Well, I don't expect Drake to have an incredible game. I just want him to have good health, no injuries, because that's what I would tell this offensive line. Like, hey, listen, this kid, this face of the franchise, this whole franchise is on your shoulders today, guys. Do not mess this up. For Drake, I just want to have a 2-touchdown performance, maybe a passing touchdown to Jalen Polk to make up for last week, the rookie-to-rookie connection, or even to Demario Douglas, because Douglas has been itching for a touchdown. He really should have had one versus the Dolphins, but it's neither here or there. But for Drake, this is an exciting moment. You can only debut in the NFL once. Regardless if we win or lose, I just want the kid to have fun. I want him to show some promise. And I think the most of all, I don't want him to get hurt. Nobody does. We don't need that. But this game is going to be a good one. The Texans are a good team. And fun little fact, the Houston Texans have not lost to the Patriots in Foxborough. Including the postseason, the Patriots are 7-0 versus the Texans at home. Whether or not that streak may end this Sunday, unfortunately, I think it might. I want to go out there. I want to keep that streak alive. I want to win games. I want the kid to win in his debut. I think we all do. Although I did say everything I wanted to say and I went over everything I want to go over, there are just two more points I would like to make regarding this team and this fan base. The first one is my thoughts on tanking. For those of you who don't know what tanking is, it means you go out there and you lose on purpose for a better draft pick going into the NFL draft for potential chances at better talent. However, my logic is you should never want to willingly lose. You should not turn on your TV every Sunday to watch your favorite team and only hope for them to lose. Because when you think about it as a football fan, when you're not going to make the playoffs, like the Patriots, for example, at least going into the season, you have from February to September. That's about 7 months, give or take, like when the date is of the regular season opener. But you have to wait that long, and you want to watch your team, especially for someone like me who really enjoys it passionately. You just can't go out there and hope to lose. It does not sit right with me. My logic is I want to go out and win every game. However, a loss does not hurt. Losing just means we get better drafting position come April. So no matter how it is, it should be seen as a win-win. We win this game, cool, we won. We enjoyed it, we had fun as a fan, and we lost. But on the other side, we lost a game, cool, now we have a better draft pick come April. Even though losing happens, in that regard and from that perspective, there is no such thing as losing. But although I am not a tanker, I am not going to let this loss affect how I feel about this team. And my second thing I really want to say is do not give up on Coach Drake Maye. A lot of people have been saying we should fire him or move on from him. But why? It's his fifth game going on his sixth game of a rebuilding team. This team has been rebuilding since 2020, but when you fire your former head coach, Bill Belichick, the rebuild is going to reset itself. And not to get really political here, but it's almost like when a new president is elected, they will be inheriting the previous mess left from their previous predecessor. That's what Coach Drake Maye is going through. This team will not be able to turn it around in 1 year, maybe even two, but with Drake Maye's genius and only able to get better alongside the brilliant mind of Elliott Wolf, the two of them could create something special. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the first Patriots dynasty was not built in a day either. So just give him some time. If anything, if 2 or 3 years go by and Coach's record does not improve and this team is stuck in limbo, then the talks of firing him or replacing him should come to surface. But for now, we just got to ride with him. And please trust him. He's very smart. He's learned under Bill Belichick for many years. He's played under him for many years. So we got to trust him in that. And I think the biggest thing about him that a lot of people don't talk about is being a former player, regardless of who he played for. That's the one thing he has against Bill Belichick, is the fact that he knows how players think from a personal perspective. He's a locker room guy. The team loves him. Mr. Kraft loves him. So why shouldn't we? I understand that the losing is frustrating. But at the end of the day, how much can you really blame on the coach? He's doing what he can. This team is riddled with injuries. He cannot account for that. He can't go out and say, you're injured, you're not. It happens. And when a player gets hurt, the show must go on. Like Tom Brady in 2008. Matt Castle took over, the show had to go on, right? So Drake Maye shouldn't be criticized just yet. Although the only thing I do not like about him, and I think I can get the agreement from everybody here, is the fact that he does backtrack a lot. But you know what? It is what it is. He's new to this thing. He's never really been in the spotlight like this before. So we just got to trust him, trust his process. But We are on the eve of the debut of Drake Maye. The new era and the next generation will take their second step forward. It's going to be a good day. Win or loss, let's just make it a good one. Hopefully the kid has a good game and stays healthy. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I cannot wait to be doing this next week. And a side note, we're going to be wearing our red alternate uniforms, which is always fun to see, and I'm on that train of we should make that our permanent home uniforms, but with a little more modernization. But again, thank you guys so much. Looking forward to doing this next week after we take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. It's going to be a morning game. I do not like that, but let's get it. Thank you all for listening, and go Pats.
Go Pats!